Shalom, more praise the Yahweh Bashmi Ashad. This is Anawala coming at you another video. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the book of 1 Peter 1 and 6. So I'm going to start from 1 Peter 1 and some of the scriptures here. Start from verse 3. Blessed be the Most High and Father of our Lord Yahweh Shai, which according to his abundant mercy hath begotten us again unto a lively hope by the resurrection of Yahweh Shai from the dead. Right here is begotten us again into a lively hope, begotten us through the word. You can read about that in the book of James, the first chapter. Being begotten through the word unto a lively hope. That lively hope is talking about the kingdom of heaven, eternal life. By the resurrection of Yahweh Shai from the dead. By the resurrection of Yahweh Shai from the dead. Because Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, was hung on a cross and his blood was shed and he died. He perished for the sins of the nation of Israel, beginning with the elect. And by Yahweh Shai resurrecting, and by Yahweh Shai doing so, the sins of Israel was forgiven. And Yahweh Shai being resurrected, when he went to the Father, he loosed the seals on a book. You can read about that, and I believe it's Revelation, the 5th chapter. And that's when Yahweh Shai opened the minds of the apostles, which Peter is the head apostle. He opened up their minds that they might understand the scriptures. I believe that's in the book of Luke, the last chapter. I believe it's the 22nd chapter. He opened their minds that they might understand the scriptures. That's the reason why Yahweh Shai said, I will not leave you comfortless, I will come to you. Because Yahweh Shai came to comfort us through the scriptures. That's why when you go into the book of Romans, it says what? It says, with the comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Have hope in what? Have hope of a kingdom. Okay? Verse 4, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled. Right. Our inheritance, which is the kingdom of heaven, is going to be incorruptible and is going to be undefiled. It's not going to corrupt. Our kingdom is never going to fade. And undefiled, meaning it's not going to be polluted. Okay? Our kingdom is not going to be polluted with the ills of modern society, of this modern world. The people aren't going to be polluted. Their minds, their spirits, the food, the air that we breathe is going to be perfect. As a matter of fact, let me go to that word incorruptible.
Strong's G 862.
Aphthartos, uncorrupted, not liable to corruption or decay, imperishable, of things immortal, of the risen dead. Because in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to be incorruptible. We aren't going to die. We aren't going to get sick. Our bodies are not going to deteriorate. We're going to truly have eternal life.
Strong's G 283.
Amiantos. This is the word undefiled. It says, not defiled, unsoiled, free from that by which the nature of a thing is deformed and debased, or its force and vigor is impaired. So our force or our vigor, our energy is not going to be impaired. We're going to be forever. We're going to be in our prime forever, basically. We're not going to be like decrepit old men walking with canes, you know. We're not going to be defiled in any way. It's going to be no sexually transmitted diseases. None of that. No mad cow disease. None of that foolishness that they got in this world. You know, the soil is not going to be defiled. The air is not going to be defiled. It's going to be free from being soiled, free from defilement. To an inheritance, incorruptible and undefiled. And that's going to be on earth, because the kingdom of heaven is going to be established on earth. And that fadeth not away. So our kingdom is never going to be mentioned in the history books as a thing of the past. It's going to be continued. It's going to remain in the Bible as a thing that's forever. Our kingdom is going to be eternal. See how we read about the ancient Roman Empire? Ancient means old. We read about the ancient Roman Empire, the ancient Greek Empire. It's ancient. The ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon. It's ancient because it's old. That's the reason why it's ancient. It's ancient because it's old and it's no longer here. But our kingdom is not going to be spoken of in that manner. It's not going to ever fade away. Reserved in heaven for you. So our spots are reserved. Why is our spots reserved? Because we're predestined. That's in the book of Ephesians, the 1st chapter. The reason I'm not getting the scripture, but I'm quoting it due to the interest of time. And as you can see, my phone battery is about to die.
Strong's G 5083.
Tereo. And it says, to attend to carefully, take care of, to guard, metaphorically to keep one in the state in which he is, to observe, to reserve, to undergo something. So it says to guard. So our positions in the kingdom, Lord willing, we are the elect, is reserved for us. Our position is guarded. It's like when you go into a particular place and it says these seats are reserved. It's reserved for particular individuals, particular people, and no one else can sit there but them. That goes back to when what was written was Yahweh Shah said none can pluck them out of my Father's hand, because they have seats that are reserved. No one can actually take your spot in the kingdom of heaven. If it's reserved for you, it's reserved for you, and no one else can get that spot except for you. Meaning no one else can be elected. Okay? No one else can take your election. Alright? You are elected, you are selected, and no one else can take your spot. Okay? Verse 5, who are kept by the power of the Most High through faith unto the salvation ready to be revealed in the last time. So it says who are kept by the power of God through faith. So that spot that's reserved for us. So it says, so this is talking about those that are begotten unto a lively hope by Yahweh Shah, to an inheritance that is incorruptible, undefiled, and fadeth not away. They are kept. Those that are begotten again by unto a lively hope by the resurrection of Yahweh Shah are kept, who are kept by the power of the Most High through faith unto salvation. So we are kept through faith, by the power of the Most High through our faith, ready to be revealed unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time. It's going to be revealed in the last time, in the end. When Yahweh Shah comes back, it's going to be revealed who those men are. Eschatos.
Strong's G 2078. Eschatos. Eschatos.
Eschatos. Extreme, last in time or in place, last in the series of places, last in the temporal succession, the last referring to time of space, the uttermost part, the end of the earth, of rank, great of worth, last, i.e. lowest. So it basically means last. Okay? Ready to be revealed in the last time. And when the last time, this is the last kingdom that's going to be that's going to be in prominence. This is the last kingdom to rise to prominence before our kingdom is set up on the earth. Which our kingdom is really Yahweh Shah's kingdom, but we're joint heirs with Yahweh Shah. You can read about that in the book of Romans, I believe it's Romans the 11th chapter. Continuing on, it says, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations. So we rejoice because of these things for a season, if need be. Ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations, because we are going through manifold temptations, meaning manyfold temptations, multiple temptations. This is what we're going through. But we got to pray to the Lord that you fall not into temptation, but that He delivers you from evil. See that right there? That's in the book of Matthew. That's the Lord's prayer. That the trial of your faith may be more precious than of gold that perisheth. So the trial of our faith. So our faith is like a trial. Okay, it's like a judgment, so to speak. Look at the word trial. Dokimion.
Strong's G 1383. Dakimion.
Oh, it's close. The proving, that by which something is tried or proved, a test. So the trial of your faith, is a test. So our faith is being tested. So the trial of our faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, is much more precious than gold that perisheth. Okay, so when you take gold and you try the gold in the fire, and what the fire does is the fire separates all of those unwanted elements of the gold, all of the dross, which the dross is what? The tin, the aluminum, and them other unwanted elements. And then when that gold is tried in that fire, and that fire separates those unwanted elements from the gold, you're now left with pure gold. So the trial of our faith is much more precious. Something that's precious is something that's low in quantity but high in quality. So our faith is of a higher quality than pure gold. It's of a higher quality than gold that has been separated from all of them unwanted elements that is now pure. So that's how precious our faith is. Though it be tried with fire, and we are being tried with fire through adversity, through temptations, through your thoughts, through your actions, spiritual warfare. Though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahweh Shah. So though our faith is being tried with fire, the fire of adversity, the furnace of adversity, I believe that's in the book of Isaiah 40. That's in Isaiah 48 and 10. Let me get that one real quick. This is the book of Isaiah 48 and 10. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. There you go. And when something is in the furnace, it's being heated up. So it says that the trial of your faith, 1 Peter 1:17, that was Isaiah 48 and 10, that the trial of your faith being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua. So it'll be found with praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua. Because if you maintain your faith to the end, and you go through those, and you conquer those temptations that come your way, okay, it's going to be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua. Why? Because you're going to be delivered. Because you maintain your faith through the end, throughout all the temptations, throughout all the adversity. You didn't lose faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You didn't lose faith in Yahushua, the Son of the Most High. Whom having not seen, ye love. So we've never seen the Most High, the Yahushua with our own eyes. Yet we love him. Whom having not seen, ye love. Which love is the keeping of the commandments. Okay? If you love me, feed my sheep. That's doing the work. These are all things that Yahushua has said. So that's what love is. Doing the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, the Most High and the Son. Whom have not seen ye love, and whom, though now ye see him not, yet believing. Though we see him not, we believe. That's faith. You go to Hebrews 11th chapter. This is the book of Hebrews chapter 11. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. There you go. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So that's what faith is, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You don't see it, but yet you hope for it. For by it the elders obtained a good report. So by it the elders have obtained a good report, meaning those that came before us. All of those men in the ancient world who had faith, even going back to Abraham, all the way up until our elders now. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So when you don't see something that you believe in and hope for, that's having faith. So it says, whom have not seen ye love, though now you see him not, yet believing ye rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of glory. That's what we do. We rejoice with joy unspeakable. Okay? You can't express it in words, in other words. And full of glory. Receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your soul. So we receive at the end of our faith, even the salvation of our souls. So that's what we're going to receive at the end of our faith, the salvation of our souls. So no one has actually been saved yet. No one has been saved yet. Okay? You got to maintain your faith until the end, all the way until Yahushua comes. That's why we already read up here when it said 1 Peter 1:7, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua. So your faith being tried with fire is more precious than gold that perisheth. Okay, and because of that, you'll be found with honor and praise at the appearing of Yahushua. At the appearing, that's the end. That's when he arrives. That's when he makes the second coming. That's why it says, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your soul, which is the appearing of Yahushua. That's 1 Peter 1:9. That goes right back to 1 Peter 1:7. Of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you. So that salvation the prophets have inquired, they've asked and searched diligently. They searched the scriptures, who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you. And they got visions of what was going to come. They were told certain things of what was going to come, about Yahushua's coming. This is on the book of Acts 1:6. Acts 1:6. When they therefore will come together, this is after Yahushua had been seen 40 days after he rose, and he was among the disciples. This was the disciples asked Yahushua. Acts 1:6. When they therefore will come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, or Yahushua, Wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? See, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? So yeah, so the apostles already knew, the disciples, the apostles already knew that the kingdom was for Israel. They asked him, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore it? Because he has risen. They understood that the Lord was going to be the one to bring salvation to Israel. So when he died and he came back, they think, oh, now must be the time. This is his second coming. Remember, we read in the book of Peter, the appearing of our Lord Yahushua. We read it in the book of 1 Peter 1 and 7. So they understood that Yahushua was going to come back. Same thing when you go into the book of Matthew's 24th chapter. I believe it's Matthew 24 when Yahushua spoke about coming back with the clouds of heaven. They understood he was going to come back. They think, well, maybe now's the time. He's back, right? He was born. He rose. He gathered all his disciples together. He taught. He did miracles, right? He was crucified. He rose. He's here a second time now because he died, came back. So maybe now this is the second coming. So wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel? They asking, is this now the time, Lord? And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power. So it's not for you to know the exact time that's going to come, that's going to happen, because the Father had put that in his own power. Because Yahushua himself even said he doesn't even know the day. No man knows the day or time when he's coming back. He said, now I know the angels in heaven, but my Father only. You could imagine how the disciples felt when they were told that now ain't the time. But that goes back to what? It was going to be a day when you're going to desire to see the coming of the Lord, and it shall not be. That was one of the times right there. Continuing on, let's get some other scriptures. Isaiah 9 and 6. This is the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 9 and 6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. This is talking about Yahushua. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. No end to his kingdom. Remember we read in the book of 1 Peter, 1st chapter, an inheritance incorruptible, undefiled, that fadeth not away. Isaiah 9 and 7. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. It's going to be incorruptible, undefiled. It's not going to fade away. Upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever, eternally. Okay? The zeal of Yahweh Shema Shah of hosts will perform this. So Isaiah spoke about it. He inquired of it. He searched diligently. Of course he had that search diligently for it. It's written down in the book of Isaiah, right? So the Most High had given him the scoop on what was going to come. When you go back to Genesis the 49th chapter, it speaks about Yahushua. This is one example of the prophet speaking on the coming of Yahushua. Okay? The Lord sent the word into Jacob, and it lighted upon Israel. So Isaiah knew that the kingdom was going to go to Israel. Isaiah knew that. He knew that. This is in the book of Isaiah. This is before the Lord even came on the scene as the Messiah. But yeah, Isaiah knew this. Okay? Alright, so it says, for unto us a child is born, that's talking about Yahushua, and unto us a son is given, that's talking about Yahushua the son, and to us is talking about Israel, the children of Israel, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. So nobody's going to rise up against us in the kingdom and take us down. And upon his kingdom to order it, and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. So our kingdom is going to truly be undefiled. It's not going to be tainted. It's not going to be soiled with anything. It's not going to be sullied. The zeal of Yahweh Bashim Shah will perform this. The Lord sent the word unto Jacob and lighted upon Israel. So the word was sent to Jacob. The word was sent to Israel, which Jacob's name was changed to Israel. This is Psalms 110 and 1. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. Now this is King David speaking about Yahushua. The Lord, that's talking about the Most High, said unto my Lord Yahushua, sit thou at my right hand until I make thy enemies my footstool. How would they have known this? Because the Most High showed them these things. Okay? The Most High showed them these things. Now I can prove it to my Yahushua. Bear me 1 second. One second. Just look at Hebrews. I think it's the 8th chapter. That was one of them. Hebrews. Here you go. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 13. But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down in the right hand of the Most High. That's talking about Yahushua. Which Yahushua, the one the world calls Jesus Christ, and Yahweh is his father's name, who the world calls God. But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down in the right hand of the Most High, which the right hand represents righteousness, from henceforth expecting till his enemies be made his footstool. So he's expecting until his enemies be made his footstool. And you can read about that in the book of Revelation. You can read about that in the book of Revelation, 19th chapter. So that speaks about the second coming of Yahushua and him taking down his enemies. You can read about that when Yahushua said, if this was my kingdom, my servants will fight, and in multiple other scriptures. So with that, I'm going to close. All the brothers learn something. I'm going to say Shalom.